My name is Rabab. I'm currently studying my PhD in Islamic law, and we have inshallah this panel about leadership and maybe Muslim leaders, how we can impact what we have to do and how we can do it to impact our communities and to maybe to put some guidelines. This is important, yeah? And what we should do first. I'd like to maybe give the opportunity to our brothers to introduce themselves. We have, mashallah, very distinguished and high position experts here. And maybe we can start with brother Abit. Yeah.
My name is Abit. I'm assistant professor here at the University of Agder, and my work kind of switches me between media and democracy, media and news production, starting from Burundi, DRC, Middle East, Balkans, but also across Europe. So that's kind of my area of expertise. I've studied Islamic movements before, social movement theory for my other research projects. So I like to think I know a thing or two, that's why I'm invited here.
Mashallah, mashallah. So we move to our brother Senaid.
I don't have Oh. Sorry. I'm sorry. So, as I said, my name is Senaid Kublica. I'm chief imam in the Bosnian community here in Norway and chairman of the Muslim Dialogue Network, the umbrella organization.
Mashallah, and move to our brother Romas. Shiekh.
Assalamu alaykum. My name is Romas Jakubauskas. I'm from Lithuania. I'm head of Lithuanian Muslim Sunni religious center in Lithuania, which unites most of the Muslim communities. It's a historical community in Lithuania, so I'm the chair of this, and as well elected mufti of Lithuanian Muslims, and my major is Sharia. I studied in Lebanon and engaged in Islamic work and with the community and religious dialogue in Lithuania for more than 20 years already. So I hope I can be I can give some good examples and ideas. I hope for the panel today, inshallah.
So we move to our brother Naveed.
Assalamu alaikum. I'm Naveed Baig from Denmark. I'm a PhD fellow at the University of Oslo. I do research and study patients' religiosity, so basically it's hospital chaplaincy and spiritual care. I'm also the Imam at the Danish Islamic Center in Copenhagen.
Thank you very much. And now maybe we can start with the point of how do you feel now in your community? The Muslim community in your countries are now united, or you are facing something like disunity now? And do you feel that some imams are very silent now, are waiting for something, or not? But do you have another situation? Can you please explain your community? Because we have to start from this point and we're going on. Maybe we're starting with Imam Senaid?
I can start. There's no problem.
You have,
I think it's
working.
Yeah, it's working. Yeah. I mean, it's not unknown actually to say that we are all confused, worried. As we could hear, losing hope, being in the desperate situation because you see injustice and you can't do much. As we also mentioned here, I mean, we know if we see something wrong, we are supposed to change it in some or other way. If nothing, so we have to resent it in a way with our heart, and we know that is the weakest demand. So that's why we need to use our rights in these open societies we live in. We are very privileged actually to live in these European societies, but still I think our brothers and sisters, our members in our communities, I think they have not done their job timely, on time. I think we are late. We are late. To change things, you have to be engaged. You have to be active. You have to be part of the policy making. We are not part of it. We are waiting for mercy of others. We are waiting that something should be served, to us. That's not the way how world today functions. So that's why I think we, as the religious leaders, I try to address this. I try to advise our members, especially members who have children. If they have not made it, so they should learn from their experience. They should admit to themselves that they have done wrong by being passive. And they should open the door to their children and urge them, encourage them to educate themselves, to engage themselves in the society. As one of our imams used to say in Bosnia, and this is very important, the rituals, Islamic rituals are in the mosque, but Islam is out of the mosque. I mean, we have to understand that. With us and in our communities, it is upside down. So we think if we pray, if we fall on sajda and so on, so we have solved every problem. We have done almost nothing. So we have to go out, and the prayers should inspire us so that we can do something outside. So I think this is the way, actually, how I try to approach the current situation. We should not use radical means to change things. We have to admit that we are late, that we should have done some things long before, but we always say never is late. So let's take this as one of conclusions today.
Thank you very much. And brother Abit.
Yes, I think my perspective here is completely from a non-religious perspective, so I'll leave the religious interpretation to the more distinguished scholars and experts here. But I would like to start and talk a little bit, very briefly, about another kind of division we see the bigger divisions in the bigger picture, in the umbrella, but I would like to start with our panel. Two of us should have been women here, and that's first of all. And the first division starts in our own home, and in our first change starts in our own garden. I think that it's important for all of our societies to speak about this kind of divisions first and address them in order to be more compact and functional society. And then we can take things further. Policy-wise, we know, we have evidence, empirical evidence, that conflict resolution and dealing with troubled pasts, and we have evidence from Bosnia, we have evidence from Kosovo, we have evidence from Middle East, is the single most important kind of issue on solving problems in society, both economic, political, social, security-wise, etc. But it takes a comprehensive approach. It doesn't take men to fix that. It takes a comprehensive approach. It takes men, women, children, all inclusive parts of society. And I think that's another division that also is worth mentioning here. I'd like to also just say that we're living in a world that is far more dynamic than it was 20 years ago. And we can just take a very simple, popular example. iPhones 20 years ago were far more simple. Our society has got the ability to absorb information that we were 20 years ago to absorb in a year time. Now you have it in a span of 24 hours. In 2014, there's a statistic that says that Instagram uploaded the amount of photographs taken in history of humanity in one single 24 hours. So that exceeded, if you can think about the curve in statistical terms, that exceeded the amount of photographs taken in humanity. So what are we talking about here? We need to rethink ways we educate our children. We need to rethink the relationships we have and comply to all this technological / other societal challenges that we have today. I'll be very brief, so I'll stop there. We have more questions that we have to answer.
Thank you very much. Now I want to give a word to our brother Romas, because me and Sheikh Ramadan came from a very, how can I say, very small Islamic population countries. So if the difference between big population Muslim countries, Europe countries, or small population Muslim Europe countries, because it's different, because we don't have such a power, maybe, yeah? We don't have the politicians, we don't have maybe academicians in our countries. So what can you say about the situation in Islamic community in your country?
Yeah, actually I'm coming from the small country, which has a very long history with Islam, but this, more than 6 centuries. We were Tatars, who were the most Western Muslims for centuries. But the situation it's completely different with many European countries, and but then it's catching up. In our situation, we have our community involved in all aspects of life. There's no difference, because we're not Lithuanians. The locals still call us Lithuanian Tatars. We're still Tatars, but we completely part of the country. We have doctors, academicians in all aspects of life. Even of course we don't have politicians, but we're trying, inshallah. So, but it shows that Muslims can be involved in every aspect of the government or life and in general, and there's no conflict in that. Okay, so we're in the army, military. The biggest number of Lithuanian generals were from Tatars. Okay, and we had part of Tatars in army. So it shows that there's no conflict there. There's no like we heard that there's some idea that when in Europe speak about Muslims, so there's there's only threat from that side. No, there's no. But in Lithuania we always had this respect for every community. Because in Lithuania it's very diverse. We have official 10. Now it's more than 10 religions officially recognized. So Islam is official religion, and other religions, and everyone has his own part. We had mosques, synagogues, and everything just beside each other, and so we have this freedom. But now, when the dynamics in the world, new conflicts are coming, we are not going forward, like coming back. So we are accepting these kind of problems, which take us back to something which we're losing respect for other groups, which is bad. So I hope that so for example, new groups that come in, like Muslims coming to Lithuania, and we have Hindus as well coming to Lithuania, which is in bigger numbers, and we see that these people are completely attached to their culture, what they're bringing with themselves to this culture, and this happened everywhere all over the Europe, and still we have this connection which people cannot. Okay, you're coming to the new country, completely different culture, and you cannot understand that you leaving your country for something different, for something better maybe, mostly for money. People come to the West, and they still have plans to go back. That creates a lot of tension with the local Muslim community, with the local people, and there is no good planning for the future within community. You can relate to that. I understand. So whenever we choose a country to live there, so we have to separate ourselves. Maybe it sounds different from me, because I'm local and I'm not going anywhere from my country. But people really need to understand that if they are leaving their country and they want to have a future with that country, they have to separate themselves. I'm not saying culturally or something or religiously, but they have to separate, their way of thinking while staying in the new country that they chose to live in, and that will make way or place for them to integrate much faster, learn language, learn about the culture, about history, and try to become a part of the whole community, not only Muslim, because even in Muslim community we can see that okay, I'm Arab, so I'm only related to Arabic culture, or I'm from Balkans or Turks or something, and if they want to make something like some project, they always run to their home country or somewhere just to get funds. Okay, they don't want to get involved with local communities or local funds or something. They always run to like Arab countries or Turkey or something, and but then they will be again attached to some policies from abroad. So that always creates a problem, actually.
Okay, thank you very much, Sheikh Ramadan. Brother Abit mentioned the importance of education, especially maybe children education. Brother Naveed, what do you think about now, from the perspective of current situation in Gaza, how we can do and educate our children, Muslim children in Europe, to be a part of Ummah, but in the same time to be involved in every movement and every field of our countries, European countries. Yeah, because our children, they are locals. They are speaking naturally and fluently, and they are citizens. They have a network, and they are feeling good in their countries. But how we can impact them and educate them in perspective of current situation, not in generally. Please.
I think children are very important, and the youth are very important. And just to move forward regarding the youth and our children, I think that one of the things that I've experienced post 7th of October is that interfaith dialogue has been exposed between Muslims and Jews, especially in Denmark, but I've also followed the situation in Norway and in Sweden, and the same thing. The fragility and the vulnerability of interfaith dialogue has really come to the forefront. And I think in some ways the interfaith dialogue has maybe lost its impetus, and the youth are maybe demanding some other things from religious faith leaders. They are posing the critical questions. Who do we go into dialogue with? What are the boundaries of dialogue? How do we define dialogue? Can dialogue be viable? Can we have dialogue with Zionists? What is Zionism? Is Zionism political Zionism? Is it militant Zionism? Is it secular Zionism? Religious Zionism? So we're in a big mess in a way, because the interfaith leaders, at least where I come from, have not had an ethical code of disagreement beforehand. So now we hit 7th of October, and suddenly we were like, what's going on here? And I agree that there is this bafflement, there's this amazement, there is this uncertainty about where do we go from here, and how do we actually get our youth, our youngsters into the conversation? How do we set, as religious leaders and academicians, example? And I think in that sense we have maybe partially failed, because we were supposed to set the line. Now they're coming to the streets, they're doing actively their activism as we see it. Not only Muslims, but as we've heard before in the panels, that this is a universal theme. So how do we give hope? I think, what the Quran says, "La taqnutu min rahmatillah." Do not question, the mercy of God. Do not lose hope in the mercy of God. Then I think we have to be very clear to our youth that mercy is the foundation of our deen, of our religion. So when we have an example, for example, take Salahuddin Ayyubi, who's taken Accra under siege in, I think, 1165 or something, and Richard Lionheart, he comes out to negotiate with Salahuddin, and Salahuddin sees that Richard has, the Christian Crusader king, has a skin disease, probably leprosy according to some. He says, "I'll send you my physicians tonight." You have people, warriors in war, but still there's an ethical dimension to handling affairs. And I think that is part also of sending a message to our youth. We cannot demand it from others, but we can demand it from our own. And I think that is one of the ways also, in the way we talk with each other, the way, the signals we send, what we write on social media. This is interpreted by our Jewish brothers and sisters and others in different ways. And we have to be, very, very conscious of what kind of signal we're sending. So I have a lot of questions, and I think I've also posed many questions, and I think I'll just stop here.
Thank you very much, brother. And exactly, I just remember remind myself and the audience with Surah Al-Ma'idah, the second chapter of Surah. وَلَا يَجْرِمَنَّكُمْ شَنَآنُ قَوْمٍ أَلَّا تَعْدِلُوا اعْدِلُوا هُوَ أَقْرَبُ لِلتَّقْوَى. What does it mean? Don't let the hatred of people who once betrayed you do not be justice. Yeah, be justice. It is exactly a taqwa. Yeah. So yeah, this is a point, and the current situation we have to be very careful what we saying, what we are posting, and in the end of the surah, the same ayah. I mean, Allah Subhanahu wa Taala said, وَتَعَاوَنُوا عَلَى الْبِرِّ وَالتَّقْوَى وَلَا تَعَاوَنُوا عَلَى الْإِثْمِ وَالْعُدْوَانِ. This is a guideline. Yeah, you have to be what? You have to help each other in the goodness. Yeah? And not help each other in the sin, in injustice. So this is our principle, and I'm very agree with brother. And yeah, brother, yeah.
Yeah, I would like actually to add to what Naveed was talking about. I think this is very, very important for you guests from other European countries. Since I'm here in Norway, and Naveed is from Denmark, and we have also Sweden. Just to give you a sense of how complex situation is today, especially for us, because I know I have good cooperation also with other European countries and different religious communities in other European countries. But you should know that our partners in the Jewish communities here in Norway and Denmark, they call their communities as Zionist communities. Literally, it is about the Zionist communities, religious communities, Jewish communities. And, we have to respect the people call themselves whatever they want. But I just want to tell you how difficult it is for us, first of all, as the religious leaders, because we cannot neglect, we cannot forget people we have had dialogue with last 20, 30 years. And suddenly you put the matter of Zionism or the notion of Zionism, the concept of Zionism in the focus. So it is very, very problematic for us, especially when it comes to the grassroots, to our members, who understand Zionism only in the way that it is scary. It is something that has as a goal to deprive the Palestinian people from their country, from their rights, and anything what is theirs. That's the way I think not only Muslims, but also other Europeans understand the Zionism in that way. So when we talk to our partners, the rabbis or members of the boards in these communities, we used to tell them, friends, as I said also for us, you are also late. I mean, you are trying to present Zionism as something noble, as something essential religiously. But what we have done, and why have not we treated this issue long before? And we started to talk about that, since September, since October. So I just want to tell you how difficult the situation is, because we really are open for the dialogue. We really want dialogue. We as Muslims, we have nothing to hide. Others have much to hide, because the truth is clear, and many in the world try to hide the truth. And we have eyes. everybody has eyes and see that, and we are not capable of doing much, and especially when it comes to art, to us religious leaders. Politicians in their bag, as we say, you can put anything, but when it comes to us, the religious leaders, so we have to take care of the basic values. We have to take care. We have to put in the first place human dignity, human life, honor. You know, and that's something, I mean, we are dealing with and having huge difficulties how to communicate with our members, from small children to our elderly people who actually do not listen to, do not watch, for example, Norwegian TV channels. They watch other channels and they come to the mosques full with much headache, you know, trying to convince us that this is horrible, you know, something has to be done, and so on. And of course, and we can also hear that from the Jewish community, because they have also very strong opinions within their own communities, even radical opinions.
So we are facing now a dialogue crisis, I think. Yeah, we have to do something with that. So yeah, brother.
Yeah, and I think that there's also another development that, you know, the development is that many Muslim leaders are finding new alliances with different Jewish communities, with different Jewish leaders and individuals who maybe see things differently. And I think that's also one of the developments. We had an iftar in Copenhagen, where some of the imams and Muslim leaders, they actually didn't attend because there were some Jewish leaders who were there, and that became actually a big case that some of us boycotted Ramadan iftar, because we did not feel that some of the Jewish leaders that had publicly taken or condemned Israeli acts of aggressions against civilians. So that was one of the reasons, and that actually paved the way, even though we got a lot of criticism from the media, including myself, but that created also ways of alliances with other Jewish leaders in Denmark.
Yeah, so now I'd like to be a little bit short, because we asked to be very brief. So here I would like to bring the aspect of Sharia law, because I'm expert in Sharia law, excuse me, being more maybe regional or more specific in this way. Maybe we can bring now in our daily life and the life of our communities to bring now maqasid, maybe. And maqasid, the goals of our religion. What the maqasid? There are 5, or in a different way are 6. So what we mentioned our brother Senaid, what the most important in our religion? To save the religious, not just Islamic religion, but religions. And the second one is to save lives. The third one is to save properties. And the save what? Our honor as a human beings. This is the more important thing. And maybe we can face the challenges now with the activization of those kind of things and morals and principles, and can be now maybe put aside our emotions. What do you think about this? So briefly, please, brothers, each of you maybe 1 minute. Yeah.
I can start. I can say a little bit about this because of my research in media. And for journalists and media representation of conflict, the truth is only true if it's the truth across the mountain. So but we see a lot of something that we call fake balancing in the news recently. So fake experts appearing as to explain situations and conduct analysis of the situation from a nice seat somewhere in America or Europe or something. And we see a lot less eyewitness reporting. So that's one thing. The other thing, what I want to point here is that truth concept, and it can go along the concepts you mentioning as well, because none of those work without the truth in a way. And what we see in the media is just a condensed view of what's happening. We don't see the lifespan, we don't see the 24-hour happening. I'm a survivor of war. I survived the war in Kosovo, and I can tell you, if you look at the media and sources of information now, the view that you might get for the war in Kosovo is completely different from what has happened during the war. I'm not saying bad or good, but it's certainly condensed, because in YouTube you don't get the Big Brother type of coverage of war, but you get the snippets of information that are the most violent parts of the war. And then our opinions, and not everybody's opinions in Europe and elsewhere, are created on the basis of those snippets of information that are condensed, are so dense that you only think that what's happening there, but there is somebody giving a glass of water to somebody, and that's important. We need to look at the other side of the conflict as well. We need to look at across the mountain and see, much like you're describing here with other communities, that there's a person over there, and we cannot paint everybody with the same brush. I guess this would go along with the concepts you were mentioning.
Thank you very much. Brother Senaid?
I would just maybe say we are witnesses. We, as the Muslim representatives, I take us here as the Muslim representative, and we have a greater responsibility. We have, as Muslims, we have spoiled much of our case or our issues. How using taking usually things, with our heart, using emotions, excluding brain, and you can remember just the matter of cartoons, how many cases of that we had and what reactions we had. Burning of Quran. For so many years, you have, it is kind of the strategy of those who want to make conflicts in our societies, actually to go with those actions, because they know that emotions are going to lead Muslims, and it will actually contribute in their agenda. That's the matter of the right wing, extremes, especially extreme right wing. So I think we have to try as the Muslim representatives, not only religious but also administrative, to urge our fellow Muslims to use both heart and brain to try to get some kind of balance. So that's the way how we should go further. Thank you.
Thank you. Brother Rabab?
I have to agree with that, because most actions are based always on our reaction is always based on emotions, and but if you go deeper, Muslims don't know, Muslim communities, they don't know about each other, they don't know about, Tatars don't know about Kosovars, they don't know about Uyghurs, they don't know about so many Chinese Muslims and so on, And this is the problem, and we always, yes, they use this propaganda, like now they're saying, everything started on 7th of October. What about 75 years, And most of Muslims, they don't even know what happened for 75 years, This is the problem that we always react very hot to the topic, and at the moment, like it's like watching the news, like click so many channels, and like if we switch the channel, we forgot about everything. So this is very important. This is a big issue actually, and we as the religious leaders, why we always focus on Sirah, because Sirah teaches us the most of the lessons how we should act as Muslims. Okay, if the community doesn't know Sirah, we are not going anywhere. We will be stuck in that loop that we always react emotionally, and we still will have the same behavior. Then we are stuck in much more problems, and we are not expanding or participating in our daily life in the broader community.
Thank you very much. And Naveed?
Yeah, but shortly, many good things have already been said, so I'm not going to repeat that. I think one of the things which I remind myself about is the word consistency, that when we condemn atrocities around the world, and I think it was the deputy mayor from Belgium who said, there are other atrocities going on as well, and we should look at ourselves and see, are we consistent in our lives? I remember, and it's not a long time ago, when Saudi Arabia and other allies attacked Yemen. That was catastrophic. We had children directly or indirectly who died of that war. I think it was 60,000 plus, directly and indirectly. And much more, there was famine which was used as starvation. So consistency is very important. And another thing is being judgmental. And I see that on social media as well, that when Shiekh or scholars, Islamic scholars, don't speak out on every single issue, then they're attacked. And I think we have to see again, not be judgmental. The Prophet ﷺ said that do not underestimate small deeds. People may be doing deeds in different directions, also in relation to Gaza, which we may not be aware of. They may be speaking to people in power, which we are not aware of. They may be having dialogue with Jewish leaders, even Zionist leaders, about some things which we're not aware of. And even now there is a dialogue going on where even Israel and Hamas are having a dialogue. They just have mediators between them. So we have to be very precise and clear about our ethical, moral values, because at the end of the day, it's ourselves that has to stand in front of God on that big, large day. So I think this is a reminder mostly for myself when I speak about these issues.
Thank you very much, brothers. I don't know if we have a time to ask an audience question. Yeah, maybe two questions. So, Sister Agder, you were first. Yeah.
Yes, thank you. Yes. Yes, thank you for this. I have so many questions and remarks, but I'll keep it short because of time. The first one is about emotions, and sometimes we talk about emotions as if it's something we should control. Of course, we have to be in balance and control and not swearing or shouting or whatever. But I think also it's important to acknowledge that we also have the right to be emotional. We also have the right to say we're afraid or we're angry or we're emotional, because that same emotions are used by the other sides to say we're afraid, because the moment Israelis or Jewish people in the Netherlands, where I come from, say we are afraid, we do everything to make sure that they're not afraid anymore. And that's very important, because people should feel safe. But the same emotion, being afraid as a Muslim, being afraid as a hijabi Muslim, should be looked at in the same way. So if I say I'm afraid, and there's Islamophobia and I'm not feeling safe, it should be handled in the same way, and not say that's the angry Muslim or the emotional Muslim. Yes, I'm emotional because I'm a human being. So let's react on that in the same manner, and not say, well, we should be less emotional, because no, I am an emotional being. I'm also a rational being. I'm also emotional. So I would like us to use that also more and say, I am afraid, I am emotional, I am disappointed, etc. I'm sorry. The second one is, I'm not sure it was mentioned in this session, but about representation of Muslims in our countries. In the city where I work, and in Rotterdam, we have a Muslim mayor, we have 3 Muslim aldermen, and we have many other Muslims working in high positions. For me, more and more it feels like it's a facade. Because our Muslim mayor, he has been mayor for 16 years now, and he was listed best mayor of the world. Everyone is really very happy with him, etc., etc. But after the 7th of October, he decided to raise the city flag, so not the Israeli flag, but the city flag on top of the stadhuis. How do you say stadhuis? City Hall, yeah, on top of the City Hall. And that single action, because he said, okay, I'm not taking stand for Israel or for Palestine, I'm raising the Rotterdam flag because that's what unites us, and I'm not responsible for the international politics, so I will keep it. Well, I don't. He says it's not, but he resigned after that. So he says, oh, it's time for me to do something else, etc. But after that, he resigned, and I know that there was some kind of pressure, and for 16 years long, and he said, I'm a Salafi, I'm a Moroccan, I'm Muslim, I'm a Salafi. He said big things, but it was okay. And after 16 years and raising the Rotterdam flag to unite us, now he is resigning. So this representation, we have the Muslim mayor, we have the Muslim alderman, in the end, it's nothing. For me, it feels like it's nothing. It's not worth enough. In the lobby, we're also always talking about the lobby, the strength of our lobby. Well, thank you. I'm sorry.
So I have to be short. I don't have a question, I just have a remark where I want to touch upon something that Imam Senaid mentioned. He mentioned 2 times, I think, that also what the sister just touched on, that we are being too passive in taking part in the dialogue. While I do partly agree that that might be the case, I do not agree with the fact that you mentioned that as Muslims we are waiting, or we have been waiting for something to be served to us. I don't think that that is true. It's fair to say it like this, because I think it's very much a generational issue. The generation of our parents or grandparents who came to the countries that we lived in just didn't have the resources, or weren't provided the resources to properly take part in the dialogue. And I don't want to talk about whose fault was it and why weren't they provided. But the fact is, they didn't have the resources. There were many barriers like language and not being included in society and blah, 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 all of that we all know, which is why it was so difficult to take part in the process, in the dialogue. But I don't think that they were waiting for something to be served to them. They worked 6 times a week and went to the construction sites and cleaned the toilets. So we can now today sit here and take part in the dialogue. For us who are sitting here today and having this super academic and sophisticated conference, yes, for us it is an obligation to take part in the dialogue, but I don't think that we've been waiting for it. I think it was just a generation matter.
Yeah, I have 3 points, and I will say it in a short one. First of all, I think as a religion leaders, it's really, really important that we keep up with principles, especially when it comes out with the justness, and the second thing about our faith and how our Prophet used to deal with these issues. Second thing, that it's really important also that our religious leaders are open with every kind of dialogue that exists, and put their stamps over dialogue, conversation that's going on. That's the second thing. The third thing that I want to mention is that what comes out of the Muslim politicians or the leaders, it's really important to know that they have a limit sources and limit effectiveness to change the situations. So it's fair that we don't ask them, and also we don't blame them when they don't take a really big stance with the cases that might gonna lose the effects things that they are doing inside our community. And then finally, I want to mention that is it's important also that what comes out from our anger or our emotionals, it's controlled by the Muslim leaders or the religious leaders that seeing the situation from a different perspective.
Thank you. Sister,
I forgot to say who you were. I'm a religion leader, Muslim religion leader from Finland, and represented Moscow Forum. That is umbrella that represents 7 religions in Finland.
Thank you. Sister,
I have to ask you to be short because the food came 30 minutes ago, and we have to.
I have just one question.
one question.
I actually have just one question. Do you feel, and the question is to the religious imams on the panel, do you feel that there is too much expectation of you in Europe? You are imams, you are religious leaders. My understanding of that, coming from predominantly Muslim countries, is that you have a spiritual role, you have a moral role, you have all those that are to do with people who have chosen Islam as a faith and everything to do with that. Why should you be held responsible for a vast community of Muslims who come from across the world? So they are extremely diverse. Some of them may be religious, others may not be religious, some are Shiite, some are Sunni. Why is there this responsibility? And I feel that there's something actually very colonial in this. There's an assumption that this mass of people is, if you want to talk to them and influence them, you go to the religious leader. I find this actually quite disrespectful. I'd like to go to my religious leader for religious questions, if I am religious.
Yeah. The role of religion leaders in Europe. This is, we have differences between Islamic countries and Europe countries. So you will answer Imam Senaid?
So I'm just wondering. Hello? Yeah. I'm just wondering because Alia and I believe the Imam from Norway has talked about representation. So I'm wondering how can we expect Imam in Germany, because I'm based in Germany, to talk about Palestine or to discuss or to debate or to confine the narrative, given the fact that Germany is cracking down every effort to bring people together. Thank you.
Thank you. Brothers, very brief.
Of course. Thank you very much for these remarks and questions. The facade, I think it is important, even with facade. Not facade, but facade. Why? I think this mayor is very good man. He's very brave man, because at the time of polarization, it's very strong polarization, and to do even that, what he has done, it's very brave, very brave. And the second thing for imams. We have had in Norway in the main newspapers there was a headline, Imam har makt. So imams have might, or imams are mighty. I would say that might be right. Why? Because we lead huge congregations. People listen to us. It is right that we can navigate people. That we also that's why in our community, Bosnian community, Turkish community, Albanian community, imam cannot be whoever. Imams, they have to be imams. Not because why? Because we are also supposed, we can also form young generations. We can form children and young people. But you are very right. People think we have control over all segments, all Muslims. You have secular and you have religious Muslims, and that is what we actually are talking about. For example, in Norway, when we talk to the newspapers, to journalists, so we used to tell them, please don't think that we can that we have control over 250,000 Muslims.
So yeah, we can now end our session. And thank you very much for your attention. Of course, this is a very hot topic, yeah, a very difficult topic. And we just mentioned some parts of this. And of course, we have so much questions, and they are still open. So I hope we inshallah meet another time to discuss these very important topics of Muslim leaders in Europe and challenges, what we are facing now, and thinking of good resolutions of each of those kinds of issues. Thank you very much. Thank you for your attention.